Okay. I don't know if I'm going to upload this video. I'm just gotta rant. Let's talk about this moon exploration that happened on April 1st. And how dumb people are. Woo! Ooh. There are people that are talking right now that I'm like, okay. The last video I talked about how my Instagram wasn't working, and I said, I went to the moon video. I'm like, it's not working right. And I think it's actually kind of good because I could take a little break from all this. But, yeah, my two accounts keep switching back and forth between each other. Don't know what that's about, but okay, whatever. No one account is a backup that I'm following like no one, and the other one is like my main one. I follow over like 2,000 people, but I've been bombarded. Like, I love a good conspiracy. I love a good and I love science. I love how we went to the moon in the 60s. That there's evidence still in space from us going to the moon. And we got these people talking about how we never went to the moon, even though the evidence is on the moon. And they would never have. This was all filmed in the States, even though China and Russia both admits that we went to the moon. And if they ever found out that we staged it, even though they admit that we went to the moon and we gave them moonwalks and stuff, would literally bring on World War III because we went to the moon. They're like, America won. Russia and China both admit it. But no, these people on Instagram and all these social media sites, they're like, we never went to the moon. It's all fake. Even though there was vehicles on the moon, the flag on the moon, there was literally a mining area on the moon from where we dug up stones and sent it back to Earth. On the moon, there's, what was it, 60-some people who actually walked on the moon? I think it's more like 36 people that actually walked on the moon. For every one of those to lie, and some of them claim to be Christians. If you're a Christian and you're lying about walking on the moon, yeah, you should burn. Like, literally, you should get in the deepest pits of the 9 realms of hell. You should be at the bottom. Help you walk your way back up, Dante. Woo! Because if you lied about that, you are one of the worst people on earth. I'm sorry. That's just truth, because you claim to be a Christian, and one of the 10 commandments is thou shalt not lie, and you've been lying. Yeah. Second off, you didn't just lie to your country, you lied to the entire world. There's a difference. There's a group of people who, for their sins, should be hanged by their toes in front of people while people throw tomatoes at you and eggs. I think you should be one of them. I'm sorry. But, going off, I'm just ranting here. But they're also talking about how the Earth is flat, which can't happen if there's gravity. gravity. If the gravity works the way it works right now, how we're experiencing it on a flat surface, it would curl up like a aluminum tin ball. Just giving you an example of how a flat Earth would never work. Second thing, there is no ice wall around the Earth. Because if there was an ice wall around the Earth, we would be in a constant tropical or extremely cold environment. There is no in between, like summer and spring. It would either be extreme spring or extreme winter. We won't have an in between. Sorry to everyone who believes that. Then there were reptilian gods in the ice wall, reptilian gods in the ice wall, patrolling and guarding the ice wall. Reptilian gods, reptile. I would believe merfolk or walruses, sea lion men, penguin troopers, I don't know. But reptilian? The one creature, if it gets cold, if they feel any sort of coldness, like an ice cube, they hibernate. But they're half humans. Well, if they're half human, they will lose body parts from frostbite. But these guys are reptilians who are mostly naked on an ice wall that are still awake. It's because of the hot body heat. That's what makes it even worse. And the funny thing is, some of these biggest guys will tell you that space is a giant hologram that's never existed, even though literally Plato and all these ancient people who look up at the sky every day didn't even know what a hologram was because that technology never existed. Yeah. It's like, there's this, I think that's a blimp up there. Yeah. But yes, these people are just like talking, and there are so many holes in the Philly. The Philly doesn't have balance. There was no base because there's so many holes. It's like Swiss cheese where you just cut out the entire center and you have literally an ice wall. But yeah, we got that. They talk about how the Earth is flat, which then makes me think, what's on the other side of Earth? If it's flat. Because the ice wall goes around, that means there's an underneath. Is there more people underneath? Stuck upside down on. I'm sorry. Then there's the people who talk about how there's 50,000 satellites in the sky. Okay, 50,000 satellites. Okay, we'll figure about that. All about the size of an SUV or a bus. Okay, yeah. They're all up in space. Yeah. Doing stuff. By the way, these people believe they don't exist. Again, you have some crazies. But those satellites in space should be able to be seen from the moon, the rocket ship, when they took that photo. Except for the fact they're about the size of my SUV out now. Or a bus. Somewhere between an SUV and a bus. Do you see trains in outer space? that go miles long? Not really. You can see the evidence of them, but you don't actually see the train. You see the outline. And trains go miles. I used to work on a passenger service. Well, I had to clean every coach after the people came, and it would take me hours to get from one end to the other by cleaning. Hours. By the time I actually hurt my back and I had to stop, I couldn't even lift up a case of soda. But by the time we would get it done, it was like 4 or 5 hours of cleaning 8 coaches. Oh, now at 46, I would never be able to clean the coaches. But yes, yeah, these people think that you should be able to see satellites. There's 50,000 of them. Why wouldn't you? Besides the fact that there's over 1 billion people on Earth and we still can't see a single person from the moon. We can't even see a bus from the moon. So, there's that. Heck, we can't even see the meteors that are trapped in the Earth's atmosphere that are going around as a satellite. Because distance. Then they're like, the picture of the moon the picture of Earth we took has been tempered with AI, which was basically everyone who actually knows, yeah, it's been tempered because it's bright. It's a bright Earth, which they did because they adjusted the settings with AI. It's kind of simple as that. Probably removed themselves because they took it with a photo. You could actually see the phone in the camera. The big circle in the middle is the frass. Like the bright spot. Yeah. But, yeah, that was that. But they're like, oh, that was corrupted. That was AI generated. It's like, yeah, to make it look nice. But you should be more impressed the fact that the sun was reflecting off the moon, then the moon was reflecting off the Earth. And that's right, we could see it. The moon was off. That's incredible. We got a photo of the moon reflecting sunlight back to Earth. You know how incredibly cool that is? How amazing God is for being able to do that so we can still see at nighttime, even without all the electricity and technology we have, we would still be able to see that moon right down on Earth because it was the sun. You know how amazing that is? How incredible God is for doing that? But, yes. That brings me to my next point. Let's talk about Genesis. The book of Genesis. And how there's one guy that is so extremely conspiracious. Even though he's a Christian, he reads the Bible after every one of his videos. He's never read Genesis. Well, it literally says in Genesis that God hung the stars in the sky, in the solar system. He created the void of space and hung each planet and each star there with a purpose. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it basically means. He hung the stars in the sky for a reason. Every star, every planet, every moon, everything is in the sky for a reason. And this guy claims that space is fake. I'm not going to say any names, but this guy claims that there's a couple of people on here on the internet claim space is fake because it's a conspiracy because the Earth is flat underneath of a dome. I'm surprised you don't say it's on a giant turtle's back. But, by the way, if you went to Revelation, it would say the stars in the sky will fall down, will melt like a funnel, like it'll just melt and then roll up like a scroll and then put away. That's what's going to happen to our universe. Armageddon in Revelation destroys everything. If you're a Christian who actually read your Bible, and yes. But this guy claims he's a Christian. He reads his Bible. He believes in Nephilim and stuff like that. And he knows some of his stuff. He's just very dumb. Like, I'm questioning if he ever actually went to school. And who his pastor is. Because clearly he needs to be taught some stuff. It's just... I'm surprised no one's talked about how... Why aren't we going to the bottom of the ocean? And it's like, well, the ocean's gravitational pull is stronger than literally the non-gravity in space. The vacuum. By the way, we don't talk about the door situation in the astronauts. This also happened with the Katy Perry trip, but those two doors. One's a seal that zips in the inside. It's a zip seal. It's kind of like, it's heavy plastic, like kind of like a tent. It's supposed to survive of elements and stuff like that, but it keeps it from having a vacuum seal. That's a better point to vacuum seal this thing. You zip it and then move it. But there's another latch, like a submarine latch on the side that you open from inside, and you pour that down and you unzip the other one. It's simple. It's because you do that, then you latch it, then you decompress pod, then you open another door. There are 3 doors to keep you from inside the from contaminating anything. Then you go into the space station or space shuttle. Obvious if you think of it. Why? Because once you open the door the first time, the vacuum of space will pull you out. So unzipping it gives you a reason to slowly go out into space. Just that. It's common knowledge. You learned that in school. Simple. But the fact that it looks like a piece of cloth freaks everyone out. Like, no, it's a latch. There's 2 doors. One you unlatch, pour it down, then pour it out. Yeah. 2 doors. Simple. Anyone with a brain can figure that out. But yes, We have been to the moon. Everything's there. If we didn't go to the moon, someone owes someone a lot of money. And it would be America owing Russia and China a lot of money. Because we went to the moon, and if we didn't go to the moon, honestly, a lot of American citizens should really just tie up every astronaut who claimed that we went to the moon if we never went to the moon, and hung them upside down so that Russia and China can beat them with potatoes and eggs. Tomatoes, potatoes, cabbages, just throw it all in them. Have your way with these guys, even all the presidents that were involved too. Every politician involved with any space thing. Yeah. It's simple. Otherwise, it's $1 billion of useless money taxpayer money going down the drain every year because the space program. By the way, Buzz Armstrong talking about how we don't have the technology to go to the moon. That interview, yeah. Well, he meant the technology we have is outdated, and to go to the moon, we have to upgrade because we technically don't have the ability to go to the moon with the entire room. It was like a football field of just one computer. That's how the computer was back then. That doesn't exist anymore. It's a simple thing. Because back then their phones were still plugged into wall. I still have selves here for a phone. You picked it up and talk to people with a cord. There are holes in the back of this wall that because right here there's a hole. They used to put a landline and then it went up. It's simple. But to someone who's always had a phone that you could take with you, or a digital clock, or a dishwasher, how about your coffee makers? This is all new technology, and they just never improved on the ability to go to the moon because it would cost billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. That's what he was getting at. Not the fact that we never went to the moon, but the fact that the technology doesn't exist. Now it does, but back then it just didn't exist. But by the way, there was that video of the bags shooting down to off the rocket ship. By the way, these bags were probably more like weights holding the rocket up. There's probably one on each side holding it still, so it wouldn't tip. And when the rocket went off, they would release a bag and another bag and another bag, and then they would all go. And that's not even the correct answer, but there was an easy one that's not like, hey, these people are next to a giant rocket that's going up in space, and they get released from the capsule going down, even though this thing is so, if you were in a bag next to it, you would melt. But, yeah, so that's just a simple thing. Man, conspiracy side got so stupid. Like, I thought I was stupid with 9/11 back when I was a kid, being like, why are there so many cameras? And I would make the point, why are there so many cameras on rooftops? And people were like, well, you're just being looking into it. I'm like, no, that was a conspiracy. And it actually turned out that there was something to it. But you have to have a base for a conspiracy. You have to have evidence to be able to be like, turn on TV and be like, this is what I see. Or open a book and be like, this is what I see. There is nothing that proves that the earth is flat. And there's a giant ice wall around us. Frankly, God put it in such a way that we should know that the earth is round, rotates, and the two areas that are icy are because it doesn't get much sunlight there. Makes sense. But if it was flat, the ice wall would not exist. Or if the ice wall does exist, it would be a giant jungle. Or a giant snow world. Well, let's just say half the world would be totally ice and the other half would be totally jungle. But no, we have places like Egypt. We have places like Middle East, which is just desert. Because the earth rotates. Some parts of Earth get more sunlight than other places of Earth. The fact that Alaska is super cold most of the time, and the days are like 15 hours of nighttime, 20 hours of nighttime in Alaska, because it's farthest from, far away from the sun, doesn't get much sunlight. It's simple. Because if the earth was flat, and the sun was going around, it would get sunlight. You know, if you did any school, you would know this. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, maybe you guys are wrong. I don't know. I'm just need to make this video so I feel good about myself. Because watching these videos of people talking about how the earth is flat, it's just sad. Kinda like, it's just an, look at it goes round. Definitely not flat. But who knows? Sad thing was, the other day I was talking to my dad and he was like, I'm like, I've been seeing these people talk about how the earth is flat and how we never went to the moon. And my dad's like, how do we know we never went to the moon? Besides, then I point out, I'm like, half the stuff is still up there, so the flag's still there. If you look through some telescopes, they're like, hey, this is where we went to the moon, and see that little sparkly gold thing in the corner? Yeah, that was the base of the thing. If they program that in every, what are they? Telescope. What are they called? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. I can't forget their names. But observatories. If they program that in every observatory, planetarium. But if they program that in everyone, that's incredible. To have the same spot from different angles before AI and CGI even existed. Gotta remember, people, AI is new, and CGI really didn't pick up until like the late 80s. Like, your Star Wars movies, the original Star Wars movies were models and makeup. That's why they still hold up today. Well, some of the classic CGI movies don't, because they're models. But who knows? I'm an idiot. It's not like I know anything about science or anything like that. Heck no. It's not like I went to school. Okay, to be fair, half the stuff I went to school, Pluto was still a planet. Thanks, Obama. Thanks, Obama, for that, by the way. Yeah. It's one of the reasons you're number 4 out of 10. Trump is a 5. But we'll leave it at that. Yeah.